In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast,
we discover RP Motorhomes and take a close look at one of their new models.
In the news, a rogue business owner and engineer from Scunthorpe have been jailed after a gas cylinder exploded in a camper van, leaving a customer with burns.
And we answer your questions on SIM cards, navigation apps and cab aircon.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Now, please do remember to follow on your favourite podcast app and click subscribe on YouTube, sponsored by arabasecreative.co.uk.
Now, the BBC have been reporting that Grimsby Crown Court have heard that Carl Smith, the owner of Ivy Lane Campers, employed Nigel Krellin to carry out an inspection in the aftermath of an incident in August 2023. What happened then, Matt?
So a campervan exploded due to a gas leak, which I believe allegedly had been checked for gas compliance, and a load of paperwork was backdated to make it look like the motorhome had been gas safety tested.
Well, that's pretty serious stuff, isn't it? What happened to them then?
So they were convicted at the Crown Court and jailed for this awful event. My advice is always get your motorhome checked professionally by and some kind of approved workshop scheme. I mean, how would you know if these guys were approved? If they're part of the approved workshop scheme, they're going to be inspected every year, and that gives you some assurity that they are of a professional and capable standard, which these guys obviously weren't.
Okay, and by all means, take as much as you're happy to as read. And they looked fine to me, and they talked a good game and all the rest of it. Check. Don't go by what you think, go by what you know. So Be warned about this one. Our product feature of the week this week is a coffee bracket. What's a coffee bracket?
At That Leisure Shop, we are really actually genuinely excited about this.
Are you?
Yeah, for a long time. We all drink coffee in our motorhomes, don't we?
Most
we love
of us do.
Yeah, we love it. I'm a big coffee fan. And there's been a coffee bracket designed specifically for the Nespresso Essenza coffee machine.
Why that one?
Because it's small. They're very narrow. And trying to get the bracket that lifts it off the worktop and so you can screw it to the wall above your sink or on the side of the wardrobe or side of the fridge, they've been really hard to get hold of. And there was a company in Germany selling them and they kept going out of stock. Guess what? We've had them made.
Have you? Because they're not cheap,
They're
are they?
here. Well, they're $109.99.
That's what you're charging.
We're retailing them for that. Get 10% off with the code Motorhome Matt.
But everybody else was charging for them.
Well, you can buy an original manufacturer one for 330 quid. Which is a lot of money for a coffee bracket.
I need a cup of coffee.
Here it is. Look at that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There we go. So
this is the bit here that you attach to what? Because you don't want to be making holes in your motorhome.
They come with the screws, little screws. Now, you may want to use longer screws, or if you've got the wood depth to do it, you may want to double-sided tape it to the wall as well. That's entirely up to you. We fitted ours in our motorhome with the little screws, and because the weight is down, I'm banging it on the desk. Because the weight pulls down, it holds perfectly. There's a Velcro strap that you fix the coffee machine in with, so you can travel with it in situ, so it's nice and secure. And just mount this bracket so that you can open the lid of the coffee machine and get your coffee pod in it. This is designed specifically for the Nespresso Essenza coffee machine.
And you use that in motorhoming and caravanning because it's compact.
Because it's small, and there may be other coffee machines that will fit in it. I don't know. That's the only one that we've used. But it's compact and great tasting coffee. And suddenly this fixes your coffee machine in situ. We run ours off an inverter as well as the ring main. So if it's hooked up, we run on the mains. But we have a socket it plugs into as well next to the bracket, which means it runs on the lithium battery.
Now, you didn't answer my question when I first... So what do you screw it to? Because you don't want to be making holes in your motorhome, do you?
Well, you have to make 4 holes in the motorhome.
So what, in the wall?
In the wall, yeah. So we've screwed ours to the wardrobe wall next to the kitchen. But of course, you can use this bracket anywhere. Put it in a shepherd's hut, put it in any small kitchen space. It's ideal. But we have designed it specifically for use in a motorhome.
Fantastic. And how much are they again?
$109.99. They're in stock.
Where can you get them?
ThatLeisureShop.com.
Hey. It's the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with That Leisure Shop and sponsored by Ripe. The main part of the podcast this week, we're going to be joined by RP Motorhomes, who you talked to at the NEC show. Who are they?
Yeah, they're a long-established campervan converter, family-run and owned, and they are renowned for their innovation, creating very cool campervans. And they kind of had a tie-up with Marcus Leach, who...
Who?
Exactly.
Sorry, Marcus.
I spoke to a lot of people and said, I'm interviewing Marcus Leach later. Now, Marcus is always on stage talking about his travels. And a lot of people said, well, Marcus, what's he actually famous for? So I started by asking Marcus to tell us a little bit more about what he is famous for. Now, for those of you watching, you'll notice I'm here with the tallest man at the show. This is Marcus Leach. Marcus, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, I should get a T-shirt that says, who is Marcus Leach anyway? Because I've been telling people I'm coming to interview you, and they say, who? So tell us, what is it you're actually famous for?
So I am an award-winning travel writer with a passion for travel and exploration, but more than that, to inspire other people to travel and see the world, expand their own horizons by sharing stories of our own family adventures and my own personal adventures, both within the motorhome and the van industry, but also on two wheels on my bike.
And you're a big cyclist as well, aren't you?
I am, yes. It's something of a passion of mine. I was once described by a cycling magazine saying Marcus Leach spends more time on his bike than you do on your sofa. So that probably gives you an idea of how many miles I do each year.
Wow, that's impressive. And how many miles have you done in a motorhome? Have you any idea?
Yeah, in the last 3 years, I think it's about 42,000.
Wow.
I've spent 3 years living full-time in a motorhome, travelling the world with my wife and children. I think it's 34 countries, 4 continents.
Wow, so you've got a lot to talk about, hence you're on stage regularly at these shows.
Yeah, that's one of the places I come and share stories of inspiration, to really showcase locations to people, to say, look, there's a big wide world out there, you know, dare to be different, go somewhere new, and have a great time in the process.
Yeah, you are an inspiration. That is true. Now, we're here on the RP Leisure Group stand, and you're in your RP Adventures T-shirt.
Yes.
What a phenomenal camper this is behind us. What's your affiliation? How did you get involved with RP?
So it's an interesting story, actually. I first discovered RP through my mum, because mum 4 or 5 years ago was buying one alongside my dad. Unfortunately, dad wasn't well, couldn't come up and see, so mum said, will you come up with me to see the vehicles? And I said, of course, love to. I met Steve and Jaye, the owners, and it kind of developed from there, really. Then when mum went to pick up a vehicle, I went with her and started doing a little bit of travel with her, because unfortunately, after just one trip, dad sadly passed, and mum didn't really know whether she would continue or not with the vehicle, but thankfully she has. And through that relationship with Steve and Jaye, and them knowing how I love to travel and inspire others, they asked me would I help start to curate some bespoke small group adventure tours for them, which is the RP adventure side of things. So we take people to destinations they might not otherwise go to on their own, and give them an experience to take their vans to places where they're made to go and adventure, but also coming back to that expand your horizons, to open their eyes to some amazing destinations, but also have that group travel, that small group travel, shared experiences with like-minded people, and help them create memories that hopefully will last a lifetime.
That's amazing. Now tell us a bit about this amazing Rebel behind us. It's award-winning. It's won Best All-Road Camper under 6.5 metres. Congratulations. Tell us about some of the features on it, because I'm impressed.
It's unbelievable. It's an incredible vehicle. It's the Rebel Raid. It's the ultimate off-road, off-grid luxury motorhome for those who really want to go and explore and see the world. And there's some features that take it from being sort of a great vehicle to a really fantastic vehicle. The first is the RP Smart Assist, which is the fully integrated iPad control panel, where not only can you have that sort of remote control over your vehicle, sort of controlling your heating, lighting, turning on sort of the hot water when you're coming back from a walk to have your shower, but more importantly to make sure that your vehicle's always at full health. So if there's any issues with battery levels, things like that, not only do you as an owner get that, but it also feeds back to RP, and they can help control things for you so that your vehicle remains in full health.
Wow, love
so
it.
that's one of the real sort of selling points. And then if we look sort of outside of the vehicle, you've got a water filtration system whereby it's a triple filter system with an almost 200 litre capacity tank. So it filters the water 3 times before it's ever got towards you drinking it. So you can sort of put a hose into a river and it'll pull the water out, and you know it's going to be absolutely safe drinking. And then on the front you've got a second alternator which draws 5 kilowatts of energy, so you don't need to plug into a shoreline. So you really can get all the energy you need to run all of the appliances, everything you've got in your motorhome, without ever really needing to plug in.
Marcus, tell me a bit more about the climate control as well, because this is really quite different to everyone else in the market.
Yeah, so we've moved away from having sort of the traditional air conditioning unit on the top, and we're using a traditional car air conditioning unit that can be regassed, and that's something that RP will do for people when they come in for their habitation checks. And it just means that we've got a real state-of-the-art climate control air conditioning unit in there, so that you've always got the optimum temperature. And it even links back to, if you're a pet owner, you can link that to the Smart Assist, whereby it will automatically kick in over a certain temperature. So if you're in the shops getting some food and your dogs are in the van, you know you don't need to worry about that. So with those sort of 4 main features, this really does elevate this vehicle to a real off-grid lifestyle vehicle.
It is quite amazing. Thank you for sharing more about it.
Pleasure.
Marcus, how can people follow you and your adventures?
So the main way to follow myself is on Instagram. It's at Marcus Leach Global, but I also write for a host of different magazines and newspapers, so you can just search my name and lots of things come up.
You're just all over the internet.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is your next trip? What's the next planned trip?
So the next trip, as a family, we're off to Austria for a month over Easter. Then we've got our summer holidays, and then we've got the big trip to Morocco in October with 8 vans of owners from RP.
Amazing. Enjoy it. Have fun.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so much. Right, I want to bring Jaye into this. Come on in. How are you?
Be kind to me.
We are going to be very kind to you, I promise. This is Jaye, the owner of RP. And I know how much you hate being on camera.
I do. It's the Yorkshire in me. You might
So
have
we're
to
going to
add some
subtitle everything you say.
That's what I was about to say. Amazing.
So tell me a bit then about this second alternator, because I'm intrigued by it. You spec them
Okay.
from new, is that right?
Yeah, so all the vehicles, because we're a manufacturer and we're type approved, so we've got British type approval stamp certification, we order the vans brand new from Mercedes. So we have a special order code that allows us to add the second alternator. So it's a power takeoff unit off the engine, and then we connect that to a 5 kilowatt power generator via the alternator.
Which then in terms runs the entire habitation
It
system.
runs the habitation, but it just means that you can have a really large amount of power into your habitation batteries. So you can do a big cook using an air fryer and the induction hob and a microwave, and really not drain your leisure battery because you're using your power generator while your engine's on idle. So you've got to have the engine idling.
Okay.
But it also allows you to run the power generator when you're cruising as well. So if you're moving from one site to another, you can use your power generator to put up to 190 amps an hour into your leisure batteries.
Love it.
So you can be completely recharged in 2 hours.
Now tell me about the payload on this. So this is a 4.1 tonne.
Yeah, 4.1
motor.
tonne. So as it
Yeah.
stands at the moment with full water and the people in it, you've got approximately 500 kilograms of payload.
But
you can
more than-
add on to that.
But more than that, though, you calculate the payload with a full tank of
Yes,
water.
full
So
tank of water
Marcus said
in
it's nearly
there.
200 litres, 184 litres of water.
184, so there's 84 litres on board freshwater tank.
Yeah.
There's an additional 100 litres underslung, but that is trace heated as well, so they're all good in all climates. And then you've got another 10 litres in your Truma boiler as well.
So you calculate the curb weight with that full.
Yes.
Nobody else is doing that. I don't think.
Okay.
So, and you've got half a tonne payload on top of that.
Yeah, and we use a hybrid system of all the cabinetry in the van. So we use the lightweight plywood like a lot of our competitors do, but
Yeah.
we have an additional profile that is super lightweight, that's insulative, but hardly weighs anything.
Now, I met some of your customers just now, and they are a passionate bunch.
They are, they're great. I adore our customers, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring Marcus into the fold, because it allows the customers to go and use the vans in the way that we always intended them to do, and to go and see places that they wouldn't necessarily have the confidence to do on their own, but as a group of like-minded people, they can go and do that and have the adventures and live the experience.
But I have got a question though for you, Jaye, because you were in corporate finance fraud 11 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah,
How did you get into this?
Different. I followed my husband's passion for this.
Right, okay.
And also that we as a family couldn't find anything that worked for us. So we have 2 children and we wanted something that had a garage and a nice, comfortable way of living in the vans. So we made all the stereotypical mistakes. We bought a great, big, huge vehicle that had a garage in the back, but then every time we pulled up on a campsite we blocked everybody's light and we sunk it and it was just awful. So we just built it ourselves, and because Steve, my husband, has got a background in house renovations, he could use all the skill set that he's got across, and cross section into the motorhome industry. And we did lots of learning along the way. What you see now is not how we started, but that's evolution, isn't it? And everything that we've put in the vans, we have tested them with a variety of ages of our children. As the children have grown up, we've tested it with that. So.
Well, your passion and attention to detail is very evident in the van, I have to say.
You.
And congratulations on the award win. Very well done. Where can people find out more about RP?
So you can find us on our website, which is rpmotorhomes.com.
Yeah.
All the links are on there that you can send an email and you can contact me directly or call us in the office. Again, the number's on the website.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jay. And thank you to Marcus. Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you.
That was Marcus Leach, travel writer and adventure cyclist, now you know, and Jaye Young, director at RP Motorhomes.
It's the Motorhome Matt Podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
And is brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Now, don't forget, you can get 15% off your insurance premium by using the code Motorhome Matt over the phone, or simply click the link in the description.
It's time for our Q&A, where you ask the questions and hey, Motorhome Matt, he's the expert that gives you the answer. If he doesn't know, he will ask somebody who does. First of all, Brian Furman got in touch.
Hi Matt, just bought the Pathway 4G. I'm just wondering what kind of SIM it needs. Is it a data SIM? Thank you.
There you go. That's a very quick and easy one for you, Matt. What sort of SIM? Phone or data?
Any. So you can put a data SIM in that has phone and text credits on it, or you can just put a data SIM into it. That's one of the beauties of the Pathway 4G. Any nano SIM, so that's the smaller SIM size. Usually you just push the middle of it out and get it to the right size. Pop it in, wait about a minute, and it just starts working.
There you go, Brian. Short and sweet. James in Staines. Getting an Atinio PS700 motorhome. What is the best iPhone navigation app for UK and Europe for a motorhome?
Ooh, well, there are several out there. I always recommend using a standalone sat-nav rather than your phone, only because running the navigation on your phone absolutely drains your battery really fast. So you need it plugged into the cab while you're driving. I do use an app on my phone. It's called Copilot, and I love using the app Waze. The difference between the two is Copilot, you can put the dimensions and weight of the motorhome into it. With Waze, you can't at the moment. I believe there is an update coming on Waze at some point where you will be able to, which would be brilliant. But it does, I say, kill the battery. We use the Avtex Garmin Tourer 3, so it's got Garmin satellite navigation software on, and the other great feature with kit like that is it's got loads of databases of campsites on as well, so you can actually navigate straight to the campsite.
Daniel Law is in Andover. He says, looking for our first van to see if we like it. Budget is £15,000 to £20,000, so 2005 to 2012 plate-ish. Many do not seem to have aircon in the cab like a car does. If I installed habitation aircon professionally in the roof, would that work while I was driving? I believe you switch over from leisure battery to the starter battery when on the road.
Yeah. Well, the challenge here is that aircon on your roof, like the Truma unit we launched on a podcast just a week ago, takes a lot of power. It has to run on mains, so 240 volt is going to absolutely crucify a leisure battery, and so running it on a battery just isn't practical. AC was quite rare in the cab of vehicles of this age. It was quite more commonplace on cars, but less so in vans, hence you're finding a lot of motorhomes don't have it. In fact, it was an option and many people didn't order it, or dealers dealers didn't order it when they spec'd the van. I spent 15 minutes Googling this to see if I could find a company that I could give a shout to that might fit cab aircon retrospectively, and I only found Google hits from 10 years ago. So whether it's still a thing, you'd have to Google a bit longer. I, as I say, spent a little time trying to research it for you. There are companies that will retrofit cab aircon. It's going to be 4 figures, I would say.
Really?
But if you're going to the equator, you're heading south, then I definitely consider cab aircon, and certainly habitation aircon is a must-have when it gets really hot, but you need to be hooked up for that to work.
So not worth checking under the bonnet when you're buying. If it isn't fitted, just go and have a compressor fitted under the bonnet. You reckon 4 figures for that, yeah?
It could be, yeah. It used to be, and that was 10 years ago, and we had it retrofitted a number of times. Just look for the AC button on the dashboard, and if it's blanked off or there's no retrofitted aftermarket button, then it probably hasn't got it. But yeah, it is just a compressor, but it isn't just a compressor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, somebody's got to install it and balance it.
Drill your dashboard, mount it, and wire it in and so on. So, yeah, and it's belt driven usually as well. So, yeah, it's not a straightforward install, and I assume there are still people out there fitting it. But as I say, I only found hits from 10 years ago for companies that seem to now be defunct.
Thanks, Daniel. Hope that's been of some help. If you want to ask a question, what should people do then,
We
Matt?
would love it if you did. Yeah, thank you. It's mhmp.info/ask Matt. You can record it. Please tell us where in the world you are, or you can fill out the form and we'll read it for you.
If you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure that you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved. That's MHMP, Motorhome Matt Podcast.info/approved.
And if you're one of our growing audience on YouTube, please make sure you hit subscribe. It's all brought to you by our sponsors, arabasecreative.co.uk.